Welcome to Sundry News for Tuesday, June 30th. Starting with the Daily Wire. Sacha Baron Cohen crashed pro-gun event posing as racist country singer before crowd turned on him. Meh. Sports leagues announce they'll change games to ensure they don't offend audience they'll no longer have. Satire. Is it really, though? Activists set up guillotine in front of Jeff Bezos' D.C. home. Call for Amazon to be abolished. Well, that's a threat. They should be arrested. Watch. Older woman told to check her privilege by protester who wants statue pulled down. That's the best you got, little boy? Democrat Party begins demonizing Mount Rushmore. Refers to July 4th celebration as glorifying white supremacy. So awful. There's a bunch of ads. Okay, let's look at this. The Daily Wire is loading. Comedian Sacha Baron Cohen is up to his old tricks again. This time, he crashed a gun rights event in Washington where he posed as a racist country singer, getting some of the crowd to sing along before it reportedly turned on him and his security whisked him away. According to Variety, Cohen infiltrated the event March for Our Rights 3, headed by the organization Washington 3 Percenters, a pro-gun rights group that has been widely described as an anti-government right-wing militia, a label the group rejects, where he sang a racist song before the crowd after posing as a country musician. According to social media posts from the event's organizers, Baron Cohen disguised himself as the leader of a political action committee who wanted to sponsor the rally, reported Variety. He brought his own security team who prevented organizers from kicking him off stage once he began singing and turning off the power to his microphone. Once the actor took the stage, he performed a song while having members of the crowd repeat the overtly racist lyrics back to him. The song focused on injecting Obama, Clinton, and Fauci with the Wuhan flu, and chopping up members of the World Health Organization like the Saudis do. Okay. Obama, what we gonna do? Inject him with the Wuhan flu. Hillary Clinton, what we gonna do? Lock her up like we used to do. She's never been locked up. She should have been. Fauci don't know his head from his ass. He must be smoking grass. I ain't lying. It ain't no jokes. Corona is a liberal hoax. Dr. Fauci, what we gonna do? Inject him with the Wuhan flu. WHO, what we gonna do? Chop him up like the Saudis do, Baron Cohen sang. Very poetic. A last-minute big donor paid to sponsor the event and hire security, and then that security kept the organizers from getting on stage to stop Cohen. Exactly what Baron Cohen was performing the prank for has not yet been confirmed. He was probably trying to prove that those racist gun folk are super racist by, having them get into the song. Speculation suggests it may have been for his Showtime program, Who is America?, which has lampooned people to the right of center. In a statement, James Connor Blair, a councilman in Yelm, Washington, described how the stunt unfolded, ending with Baron Cohen escaping in a private ambulance. Sacha Baron Cohen pulled a bullshit stunt at the March for Our Rights 3 event, disguised as a pack out of Southern California, paid for the stage setup and musical entertainment, said Blair in the statement. Came on stage disguised as the lead singer of the last band, singing much of racist, hateful, disgusting ass shit. His security blocked event organizers from getting him off the stage or pulling power from the generator. After the crowd realized what he was saying and turned on him, his security then rushed the stage and evacuated them to a waiting private ambulance that was contracted to be their escape transport. It was a setup and smack in the face of the great people who put on this event, including Alan Acosta, Tessa Ashley, and Matt Marshall, disgusted with what Sacha did off of the bullshit stunt. Holy shit. crying, laughing face. Sacha Baron Cohen infiltrated the Washington 3%, local right-wing militia, event in Olympia a few minutes ago. A last-minute big donor paid to sponsor the event and hire security, and then that security kept the organizers from getting on stage to stop Cohen. Ha 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 ha. In February, NPR produced a profile piece on the Washington 3 presenters' efforts to go mainstream. The group, NPR reported, is part of the broader Patriot movement, an assortment of militias, survivalists, and self-described constitutionalist conservatives that question the legitimacy of the federal government and seek to limit its powers. Well, its powers should be limited because it has grown quite a bit. Typically, these factions get lumped together under one catch-all: anti-government extremists. We're absolutely not a paramilitary. We're a non-profit corporation, the group's leader Matt Marshall told NPR. The narrative is we're an all-white man, Christian Dominion type, crazy out there, far-right militia, he said. Marshall has said about changing that image, NPR reported, including by breaking with the National 3% organization. We're stuck in the middle. The true neo-Nazis hate us, which they should because we hate them too, Marshall said, and the far left, who we don't have any problems with, hate us because they believe that we're neo-Nazis. Back. And moving on. The Daily Yahoo. 2 friends in Texas were tested for coronavirus. One bill was $199. The other, $6,408. I'm guessing the cheaper one didn't have insurance. 2 friends got coronavirus tests at the same emergency drive-thru center in Austin, Texas. So why was one bill 32 times larger than the other? Okay, why? Before a camping and kayaking trip along the Texas coast, Pam LeBlanc and Jimmy Harvey decided to get coronavirus tests. They wanted a bit more peace of mind before spending 13 days in close quarters along with 3 friends. The 2 got drive-thru tests at Austin Emergency Center in Austin. The center advertises a minimally invasive testing experience in a state now battling one of the country's worst coronavirus outbreaks. Texas recorded 5,799 new cases Sunday and recently reversed some of its reopening policies. Yeah, how many of those new cases were coming over the southern border? Huh? That would be an interesting number to hear. They both recalled how uncomfortable it was to have the long nasal swab pushed up their noses. LeBlanc's eyes started to tear up. Harvey felt as if the swab was in my brain. Their tests came back with the same result, negative, allowing the trip to go ahead, but the accompanying bills were quite different. The emergency room charged Harvey $199 in cash. LeBlanc, who paid with insurance, was charged $6,408. I assumed, like an idiot, it would be cheaper to use my insurance than pay cash right there, LeBlanc said. This is 32 times the cost of what my friend paid for the exact same thing. LeBlanc's health insurer negotiated the total bill down to $1,128. The plan said she was responsible for $928 of that. During the panic, there has been wide variation between what providers bill for the same basic diagnostic test, with some charging $27, others $2,315. It turns out there is also significant variation in how much a test can cost 2 patients at the same location. Harvey and LeBlanc were among 4 New York Times readers who shared bills they received from the same chain of emergency rooms in Austin. Their experiences offer a rare window into the unpredictable way health prices vary for patients who receive seemingly identical care. 3 paid with insurance and 1 with cash. Even after negotiations between insurers and the emergency room, the total that patients and their insurers ended up paying varied by 2,700%. Such discrepancies arise from a fundamental fact about the U.S. healthcare system. The government does not regulate healthcare prices. Oh, that's what you want to take away from this? Some academic research confirms that prices can vary within the same hospital. One 2015 paper found substantial within-hospital price differences for basic procedures such as MRI scans, depending on the health insurer. The researchers say these differences aren't about quality. In all likelihood, the expensive MRIs and the cheap MRIs are done on the same machine. Instead, they reflect different insurers' market clout. A large insurer with many members can demand lower prices, while small insurers have less negotiating leverage. Because health prices in the United States are so opaque, Some researchers have turned to their own medical bills to understand this type of price variation. Two health researchers who gave birth at the same hospital with the same insurance compared notes afterward. They found that one received a surprise $1,600 bill while the other one didn't. The difference? One woman happened to give birth while an out-of-network anesthesiologist was staffing the maternity ward. The other received her epidural from an in-network provider. The additional out-of-pocket charge on top of the other labor and delivery expenses was left entirely up to chance, co-authors Aaron Taylor and Layla Parast wrote in a blog post summarizing the experience. Parast, who received the surprise bill, ultimately got it reversed, but not until her baby was nearly 1 year old. The Trump administration has taken steps to limit patients' out-of-pocket costs for coronavirus testing and treatment, using relief funds to reimburse providers for uninsured patients' bills. Insurers are required to cover patients' coronavirus tests with no cost sharing or copayments. Alex Azar, the Health and Human Services Secretary, reiterated that commitment in a Sunday interview on CNN, saying, "If you're uninsured, it will be covered by us." The testing experience of the Texas group suggests that it doesn't always work out that way. Some emergency rooms charge cash prices and tack on testing fees that insurers are not required to cover. In this case, the patient who paid cash actually got the best deal. Harvey has health insurance but felt it would be a hassle to use it for the coronavirus test, so he paid for his test with two $100 bills after receiving the nasal swab and was on his way. LeBlanc let the emergency room take a photograph of her insurance card. She ended up with $6,408 in charges, mostly from an outside lab called Genesis Laboratory that handled her testing. She received explanation of benefit statements suggesting she would owe more than $1,000. Jay Leonard, who also got a drive-through test from the same provider, used his insurance and received a similarly long list of charges. He recalls a provider saying he would be tested only for coronavirus, but bill records show he was also screened for Legionnaire's disease, herpes, and enterovirus, among other things. The emergency room also charged him $1,684 for using its facility and $634 to see one of its doctors. All told, he ended up with $5,649 in bills, of which his insurance plan paid $4,914. Leonard didn't end up on the hook for any of it, but he is still frustrated. "Ultimately, we pay for this in higher premiums," he said. Michelle Tribble, a spokesperson for Austin Emergency Center, said it needed to charge high prices because insurers often pay only a small share of their fees. For emergency room visits, the reimbursement to us by insurance companies is typically a fifth or a third of total charges, she said. If an insurance company were to bill a patient for an out-of-network visit to our emergency room, our billing company would go to bat for that patient and would appeal on their behalf. For emergency room visits, the reimbursement to us by insurance companies is typically a fifth or a third of total charges. If an insurance company were to bill a patient for an out-of-network visit to our emergency room, our billing company would go to bat for that patient and would appeal on their behalf. Okay. Austin Emergency Center and Genesis Laboratory had differing explanations for why patients like Leonard were screened for so many conditions. Tribble said, "The lab makes the determination of what to test for." Edward Chinky, a spokesperson for the laboratory, said, "Genesis does not order clinical laboratory tests." Okay. LeBlanc learned of the discrepancy only because her husband happened to be on the phone with Harvey when a price estimate from her insurer arrived in the mail. Harvey said, "I hear Pam in the background saying, 'What the heck is this?'" She used the information about what her friend had paid to negotiate her charges down to $199 as well. Oh. And after she reached out to a local television station, which devoted a segment to her charges, her health plan began investigating the bill. On Thursday, after returning from another camping trip, LeBlanc learned the bill would be dropped entirely. This article originally appeared in the New York Times. Okay, that's nice. U.S. Supreme Court refused to block first federal execution since 2003. Good. 4 prisoners affected by the ruling are scheduled to be put to death in July and August. I'm sure they probably deserve it. Hitachi says it has no plans to sell British nuclear project to China. Japanese conglomerate Hitachi Limited said on Sunday it has no plans to sell a stalled British nuclear power project to China. The group's statement followed a report in Britain's Sunday Times newspaper that U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has warned Hitachi not to sell. And they're not going to. Good. South Africa's surge of virus cases expected to rise rapidly. South Africa's current surge of COVID-19 cases is expected to dramatically increase in the coming weeks and press the country's hospitals to the limit, the health minister said Sunday night. More than 4,300 people have been hospitalized out of South Africa's 138,000 confirmed cases. That's a pretty small number compared to 138,000. I'm just saying. Rob Kardashian smiles with his sisters at Khloe's family-only 36th birthday bash. Birthday party. 36th birthday party. Oh, there's the word bash. It's right down there. Khloe Kardashian explained that the birthday bash was family only since they aren't comfortable being around too many people during the panic. Amazon workers strike in Germany after virus infection reports. About 2,000 Amazon.com Inc. workers in Germany are staging strikes after coronavirus infections connected to local warehouses raised concerns about employee safety procedure. The walkouts, which will last through at least Tuesday, affect 6 Amazon sites across the country. Jan Jurczyk, a spokesman for Amazon, said. Featured. Join us for trading stocks and managing risks in the COVID-19 era. Yahoo Finance Premium presents Trading Stocks and Managing Risks in the COVID-19 era. Learn how to better manage assets, assess risk, and invest during the recent stock market volatility caused by the COVID-19 panic on Wednesday, July 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, what's hot? It's face coverings from Yahoo Search and online social work degrees on Yahoo Search. Trending now, Anya Geraldine. Well, that's new. Catherine Zeta-Jones, Jennifer Aniston, Laura Ingraham. I guess people are getting tired of researching the coronavirus spike. 2020 Honda Accord customer satisfaction surveys. Katerina Marino, Liv Tyler, Lululemon mirror, Oakley glasses. Okie dokie. Thank you, Yahoo. And finally, we have 1440 in partnership with something I can't see because I use dark mode. Good morning, it's Monday, June 30th, and we're reviewing another big day at the Supreme Court yesterday. Okie dokie. Need to know. Abortion law struck down. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down a Louisiana law yesterday, placing restrictions on abortion providers. Boo! Chief Justice John Roberts joined the court's liberal justices in the 5-4 decision. Why? The law required doctors to have admitting privileges or relationships with local hospitals in case of emergency. Oh, what a terrible law! What a terrible rule to have within 30 miles of their clinic. Proponents of the law have argued it's a common-sense safety measure protecting women's health. Yeah? Critics say the difficulty in obtaining privileges forces clinics to close. If your abortion doctor can't manage to get privileges at one hospital within 30 fucking miles, do you really want them all up in you? Come on. Critics say the difficulty in obtaining privileges forces clinics to close, and the plaintiffs said the restrictions would leave Louisiana with a single operating clinic. Good. 4 justices found the law created an undue burden on a woman's access to abortion, while Roberts cited a stare decisis doctrine, deferring to a 2016 case in which a similar law in Texas was struck down. Well, you know what? Maybe it shouldn't have been. Why? I don't understand why people lean on precedent like that when the precedent might be bad. Use some sense in your judgment of precedent. Separately, the court declined to hear a challenge to the federal death penalty, allowing executions to resume. So, Yeah, they're all about killing people yesterday. Babies and criminals. I'm okay with the criminals, but the babies didn't do shit to you. The babies are people, and you are okay with killing them, apparently. Reddit issues super ban. Social media platform Reddit will close down at least 2,000 forums for violating its newly updated content policy, which explicitly bans hate speech. That can't be legal. They so they just updated their policy. So everything that was already there is just now shit out of luck. The list of banned communities includes two popular right and left-wing subreddits, The Donald and Chapo Trap House. Despite its relatively small size of 800,000 users, the former, which has no formal connection to the president, became notorious for promoting violence, I'm so sure, and fueling conspiracy theories. The decision is the latest in a long turn for Reddit, which has historically argued its loose restrictions enabled free speech. Yeah, and now they're locking up that free speech. It's not free anymore. The news comes amid a broader boycott by advertisers, largely focused on Facebook, pushing social media companies to more tightly moderate paid content on their sites. Oh, the arrogance. Adidas, Clorox, and others joined the growing list of companies pausing spending yesterday. Do you just smile and nod when people talk about Reddit, the 7th most popular website in the US? Here's a beginner's guide. Okay. Golden State Killer pleads guilty. One of the country's most notorious serial killers admitted to his crimes in court yesterday as 74-year-old James Joseph D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 murders and multiple rapes and burglaries across California during the 1970s and 80s. The move allows D'Angelo to avoid the death penalty. D'Angelo's crimes long baffled investigators. His early crimes near Sacramento were attributed to the East Area rapist, but he shifted to the greater Los Angeles area in 1979, where he was known as the original Night Stalker. The last known crime occurred in 1986, something he possibly aged out of killing, though 2001 DNA analysis revealed the two killers to be the same person, with their crimes consolidated under the single moniker of the Golden State Killer. The 2018 book I'll Be Gone in the Dark revived interest in the case, and D'Angelo was nabbed in one of the earliest instances of using genetic genealogy to solve cold cases. Cool. How can you build wealth for your future? Diversifund. Okay. For centuries, the 1% has had the upper hand with access to investing in high-quality, top-tier commercial real estate assets. This has been a key element to driving long-term financial success and, moreover, generational wealth. And these days, to build wealth like the 1%, you'll probably have to invest like them. Fortunately, Diversifund has made it simple and easy for you to start investing in alternatives like multifamily real estate. Diversifund is a tech-enabled platform that allows the everyday investor to access commercial real estate assets through their Growth REIT. All you have to do is answer a couple of questions and click a few buttons, and you'll instantly become a co-owner of a diversified portfolio. They'll continue doing the hard work like buying, renovating, and, when the time is right, selling the properties for maximum returns. But you don't have to worry about that. The best part? The minimum investment to get started is only $500. Get closer to your financial goals with Diversifund today. Please support our sponsors. In the know. Sports, entertainment, and culture. New York City's Broadway to remain closed for the remainder of 2020. Production shutdown affects more than 30 musicals and plays. And probably thousands of actors and stagehands and directors and producers and so on and so forth. Netflix is planning a 6-episode scripted series on former NFL quarterback and activist Colin Kaepernick's life from Selma director Ava DuVernay. So are you going to show how he was super rich as a kid? He was raised in wealth and privilege. AMC Theaters, the largest movie chain in the world, pushes back reopening 2 weeks to July 30th. Science and technology. Study finds monkeys are capable of learning recursive cognition patterns, which helps in communicating complex thoughts to others. Findings shed light on the evolution of language. The New York Times pulls out of Apple News, saying the app prevents a direct relationship with readers. India bans TikTok, dozens of other Chinese apps amid border dispute. Good for them. Laser-welded sugar networks provide template for intricate 3D printed blood vessel networks. Researchers demonstrate cells can be kept alive for up to 2 weeks using the technique. Neat. Business and markets. U.S. stock markets up. The roller coaster continues. S&P 500 up 1.5%, Dow up 2.3%, NASDAQ up 1.2%, as May home sales spike 44% over April. Sales remain down 5% year over year. 7 die in attempt to take hostages at Pakistan's stock exchange. So is that all the people that were attempting to take hostages, or did some innocent bystanders die too? Boeing shares surge 14% after regulators test Flight 737 MAX in step to potentially return planes to the air by year end. I don't understand why they keep... Why? How many planes have to crash? Just give it up. Do something else. Biopharmaceutical giant Gilead announces prices for COVID-19 drug remdesivir, with a government pricing of $2,340 for 5-day treatment. Private insurers to pay $3,120. Home fitness startup Mirror to be acquired by fitness apparel retailer Lululemon for $500 million. Politics and world affairs. Arizona reverses reopening plans, shuts down bars, movie theaters, gyms, and more for 30 days as the coronavirus spikes in the state. Oregon and Kansas to require face masks in most or all public spaces. See where cases are rising. Come on. China formally passes Hong Kong national security law. China, accused of forcing Uyghur women to take birth control, implant intrauterine devices, and undergo sterilization in an effort to suppress the Muslim minority population. Damn. Tentative trial date for officers involved in George Floyd death set for March 8, 2021. Why so far in the future? Judge threatens to move trial from Minneapolis unless both sides limit pretrial publicity. Oh, that's not going to happen. Sources say White House was aware of Russian bounty scheme in Afghanistan as early as 2019. That was just last year. In depth. The Painful Truth from Detroit Free Press. In March, Denise Chandler left her husband, stricken with severe COVID-19 symptoms, at the door of Detroit's Sinai Grace Hospital and never saw him again. It took a call from a nurse at the hospital where whistleblowers alleged mismanagement led to unnecessary deaths for Chandler to learn the painful truth. Why'd she leave him at the door? Are states ready for November? Probably not. From American Press Institute. From long lines to mountains of mail-in ballots, recent primaries foreshadow a potential catastrophe in November's general election. Stanford law professor Nate Persily breaks down what officials need to do to prepare. This coronavirus mutation swept the world. Washington Post. At some point in the early stages of the U.S. outbreak, a random mutation swapped instructions for a single amino acid, but this sole change was located on the virus's spike protein and came along with dramatic consequences. Okay. Cut out the middleman. Don't waste your time or money investing with a platform that charges you unnecessary middleman fees. Unlike other online platforms that function as a broker, Diversifund's cutting-edge real estate platform is an investment partner with skin in the game. Say goodbye to brokers and middleman fees, saving you more money to invest in your future. Start investing with Diversifund today. Please support our sponsors, etc. History says democracy is less broken than you think. Technically, I don't know why there's so much emphasis on democracy in our country, because we are not actually a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Anyway, the best photos of the year celebrating the environment. Ooh, the environment. More than 110 years ago today, a mysterious explosion flattened Russia's Tunguska River region. From our partners, get members-only benefits at world-renowned restaurants, hotels, retailers, and more at over 1.6 million locations around the world and online. Join now exclusively through 1440 to receive guaranteed acceptance, a next-gen black card, a complimentary 2-month trial, and a permanently preferred membership rate of $250 a year thereafter. From Select. Whatever that is. Swine flu is the new coronavirus, because we didn't already have the swine flu. 4 former presidents help mark the centennial of the Negro Leagues. Okay. This chart shows how coronavirus cases track with restaurant spending. Man arrested after taking a dip in a Bass Pro Shop aquarium. Oh, that's funny. When you find the surprise hidden well beneath your historic home. Oh? Okay, I'm curious. Resident plummeted into abyss below 177-year-old New England home. Abyss, huh? A resident who plummeted into the abyss below a New England home that dates back to 1843 was pulled from frigid well water over the weekend, officials said. That is terrifying. Officers responding to a home in Guilford, Connecticut, learned a resident had fallen through a section of wood flooring, tumbling about 30 feet down into a well that had been covered up by an addition in 1981, according to the Guilford Police Department. Police say the victim was treading water for nearly 25 minutes before firefighters descended into the well and pulled them to safety. Miraculously, the victim only suffered minor injuries but was transferred to the hospital to be checked out, the department wrote in a Facebook post. Police warned that older historical homes in New England may have hazards that were not upgraded by current code. Oh my goodness. This well was most likely outside at the time. There was a renovation and addition in 1981. At some point, this well was covered with simple wood flooring and no subfloor or well cap. While the new tenant was moving into the home today, a friend fell through. Oh, so it wasn't the resident of the house, it was a friend of the resident. Well, that's terrifying. Cool. I love old houses. Anyway, clickbait. An unintentional quarantine with hundreds of parrots. Okay. History book. Famous Oxford debate on evolution takes place, 1860. Singer and civil rights activist Lena Horne born, 1917. Boxing champ Mike Tyson born, 1966. Happy birthday, Olympic legend Michael Phelps, 1985. Don't be afraid to feel as angry or as loving as you can, because when you feel nothing, it's just death. Lena Horne. Okay. That's all for today. Thank you, 1440. Thank you, anybody who is watching, which seems to be nobody, but whatever. Goodbye.